Jean de la Nuez, The Captor is the feature film, play at the Action Adventure Film Festival. Really interesting film. Is this your first feature film?
It is, yes.
How is that? Like just from a grand question, like how is making your first feature film?
It's a definitely a step up from short films. It was like putting a bunch of short films at once, all in one place, and it was very interesting, in a lot of ways. But I felt after a few short films, I felt that I was ready to take on, something with a few more minutes intact. So yeah,
So you got a guy who's an ex-soldier and he becomes a vigilante, not Batman, but kind of something like that. And he's
yeah.
taking on porch pirates. Like explain to people what porch pirates are if they don't know.
Yeah, so porch pirates are basically, robbers or thieves that, they take your packages or anything from your front porch. Hence the porch piracy.
So is
So
that
it,
is that a thing? Because I guess people are at work and Amazon comes during the day to drop off their packages.
yes, it's actually, something that happened to me. So I looked into it and it's a trending thing. And something that kind of sparked to me was, what if you don't have these modern things nowadays like the Ring, or like security cameras? Not everybody can afford them. So that's why I kind of made it into a timepiece. And it was just made a little scarier because this is something that, does happen on a daily basis. Is thousands of people, suffer from this, especially during the holidays.
So what did you get stolen? What package got stolen from you?
Basically I had ordered the new iPhone.
Oh,
And
okay. So it's a big one.
yeah, yeah. At the time it was the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And I was a big Android user at the time, and I wanted to make that jump to iPhone because of the cinematic and all of that new features that it was having. So I kind of wanted to jump on board for that reason, and I wanted to maybe utilize it into this film, which I kind of did. I sprinkled it a little bit once I finally got the iPhone. But it happened to me, and I was very disappointed. I went through, a lot of obstacles, and that frustration. I put it together, and put it on a script that I had already worked on for a few years, and I just implemented it and gave it a bit of a theme.
Gotcha. And then okay, so then how many shorts have you made prior to this film?
So I directed three short films,
Okay.
completed short films. I did go to film school at the Arts Institute of Miami and Miami-Dade College. I attended a lot of I did my thesis projects, things like that. But outside of that, I did three short films.
And so basically you still live in Miami, correct?
Yes, yeah, currently.
How's the film scene in Miami?
It's a little tough. We do have a lot of dedicated, creatives down here. There's a lot of filmmakers. I feel that it's still not at a Atlanta or Hollywood, type of, gateway for us yet. But I do see a lot of potential. I'm starting to work with a little bit more of like the Hispanic backgrounds a little bit more. They're very involved in the arts as much as the what I'm used to is more of this traditional Americans down here and American traditional filmmaking.
Yeah.
But there's I live very close to the Telemundo and NBC studios, so that circle is starting to come around and come together in a strong and positive way now since post COVID. So I think that it is growing. It's a growing industry. But yeah, I'm always willing to work with whoever I can grab down here, which is it's not as common as other places.
So looking at your cast and crew, obviously watching your film, a lot of Hispanics cast and crew. Like I said, almost everybody was Hispanic, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're like Hispanic, but they're like born here type of thing.
Yeah,
So
but
born
they're
in
they're yeah.
Hispanic heritage,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's not many, especially in Miami, you would have to go a little bit more north for that. But it's we did I think a pretty solid casting. They did very good. They're all, part of agencies and they all have, they're all part of the industry one way or the other. So
Oh,
I
but
was
that's
very
something to be proud of, though, right? I'm assuming, like, just like you got it done.
yeah. Yeah, that was big. That was the number one goal. That's the number one goal I gave myself coming into this project. I said, no matter what, this has to keep going. This, no matter if budget falls, no matter if whatever happens, there has to be a backup plan and another backup plan. So that was my number one goal. I even the last day we shot, our last final day of filming, the next day, my firstborn was what came to the world. I became a father right
You
after
gave
that.
birth
So
to a
even
film and you
then,
gave birth to a son.
yeah.
Well, at least
Well,
your
it's my
wife did.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or sorry,
yeah,
daughter. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, so I didn't let that stop me. I mean, my pregnant wife was having to deal with that and an entire cast and crew, at the same time. It didn't stop me from completing it. So I think that giving myself that goal and seeing the obstacles like just beforehand, didn't stop me. So yeah.
Well, let me ask you: Is that your first child?
Um, it was my first child. I have another child, just 4 months old now. It's a boy.
Oh,
Uh,
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
No,
So,
no, but the reason I'm asking is that was there like did she the baby come early or late? Like because like you're filming and like I'm assuming you're knowing the baby can come anytime. Like why while you're filming, like how was that process?
so
Why did you schedule the film at the 9 months?
right. So I had a choice. It was either record before or record after. And after hearing a lot of parent stories, after I would be more tired, I
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
have
Totally.
less time on me.
Yeah.
It's a completely different beast.
So you had to get it
So
done before the baby was born.
I had to get it done. I said, okay, I'm going to give myself, this amount of time. We have to crunch and do everything possible, to get it done. And, I was very fortunate to get it done. It wasn't rushed. It was planned, correctly, a lot of organizing, everything. So I was grateful for that. But, we did have some hiccups, but, there was always a way to go around it or get it done after, so.
So but was the baby early? Was the baby
No, on time, on time. It was on time. It was so we had a shoot. Our last day of shooting was supposed to be planned like a week prior, but because of delays, we were like, okay, like let's do this. And it was literally just the day before. So I shot it, and then got the most rest that I could that night, and next day it was ready to go.
is ready to go? Because yeah, you don't sleep when the baby's born. So as you
After that, yeah, no, it's been yeah.
because your 4 month year old's still up every 3 hours, I'm assuming,
I
right?
think last night was the first time I got some sleep.
Yeah.
It's in all of
Because they know
this.
you're talking to me, that's why the baby knew.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you this opportunity.
Okay, so tell me about I want to jump, I want to go forwards and backwards, but basically, I thought the film was really well shot, and then
Thank you.
I realized that you DP'd the film, you shot the camera as well, right?
A lot of it was me. I did have some, assistance with camera work. Sometimes the actors would step in, help me out. It was, it's a lot on me. So, um, yeah, it was. But most of the film was, yeah, shot by me. I say about 80%, 85% was
Is that
was
something you've done before, like DP to film?
Yeah, I wanted to work with I wanted to work with a DP. He was doing a lot of really, really beautiful work, and he had gotten a gig like maybe a week before. And like I said, my number one goal was no matter what, get this movie done.
Yeah,
So I stepped in as a DP, but I was fortunate enough to have like some conversations with him that kind of inspired me to do certain things. So, I used that and I just went in, I did my shot list, I did everything I could and and then just planned the camera work after that. I got very familiar with my cameras, with all of my equipment, everything that I had to just utilize it to the maximum. So I would just have as much PAs as I could, even if they hadn't had too much experience on set, I was willing to have friends over and just help out. I'll teach you, I'll all that stuff. And I was fortunate enough to have some help there.
A
Yeah.
lot of like handheld work, right? You did a lot of handheld work, camera work.
A lot of handheld, some tripod work. Um, but yeah, mostly handheld. I wanted to get, up close and personal, make us feel like we were there with him.
How did you handle like, were you worried about the handling of PTSD? Like, have you done some research or you talked to people about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually have some family that has, gone through that or going through that. And then it was just, go from there. It was talking to them about their experiences, doing some research on my own. There was social media nowadays definitely plays a hand in that, and it helps out getting to it faster. So I did have some folks reach out to me, tell me their stories, some instances, some things that I really would have wanted to push, but production doesn't really allow me to. So I had to kind of, balance it out somehow, some way, because I didn't also want to show a film where if you did have PTSD, I didn't want you to have to like relive it too much. I just wanted to kind of inform the audience of like, okay, these are some things that they feel or can experience, and if it's this is just a story that if what if it goes down, it's a what if story. What if it goes down the wrong hole and you're going down this path, where can it lead?
Gotcha. So okay, so then you wrote the screenplay as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, I wrote everything. Yeah.
And where did you come up with this idea for the film?
So after the porch piracy happened to me, I mixed it in with a film that I had worked on years before. It was similar to like kind of like what it is. It's like a Punisher, Batman type of vigilante type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's been done before so many times. So I wanted to do something original. I wanted to bring in like a theme and mix it in. Where where this PTSD could take us with a theme that's like, actually happening, is still happening. And I wanted to touch on something that wasn't touched on, too much before. So that's where that came in.
Gotcha. And then so then, but you're like you're writing the script and I'm making this into a movie. Like that's your thought process, right?
Yeah, I mean, you first start off kind of you kind of start off as a short, and what I started seeing was that there was a lot of juice in this story. So I was like, okay, I can't really tell this story. I mean, not the way I saw it in at least like 20, 30 minutes. I need to make this
Yeah.
a little longer. So I started writing and writing and just feeding it to the point where, it did get to, I think it was over 200 pages at one point, and from there, I started to trim some fat. I started, okay, we don't need this, we don't need that. There's probably like maybe one or two deleted scenes. But uh, but that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep those deleted things out of the way as much as possible. I didn't want it to interfere with the editing, which is the other thing that I came into this. I came in as a DP, director, writer, but also as an editor. As I was filming, I was thinking in the
But
editing.
you're in the film too, right?
I come out for a moment. Yeah, I do a little cameo as the PTSD the group therapist. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to sprinkle that a little bit there. I didn't want. I'm not those type of. I don't like to appear the entire time on film. I didn't want to tackle that beast. That's very complicated to be the star and director. I wanted to focus more on the performances and shots and everything like that. So.
You have acting experience, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've done it all. I mean, as a director, I before I became a director, I wanted to try every shoe, everything I could. I would do extra work, I would do, acting, I would do everything, just everything in the behind the camera and in front of the camera. I wanted to experience everything.
Gotcha. And then so tell me about um the cast because it's a pretty extensive cast, and then your lead is in every scene. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming the lead was. Did you have him in mind when you're writing the script? Did you like how did you find him, or did you do some casting, or I'm just curious about the process.
So I initially did have an older actor in mind at first initially, but they relocated to another state which they were heartbroken. We were all heartbroken, but like I said, number one goal is to get it done no matter what.
Yeah.
So I had done a re auditioning pretty much, and it was a completely different approach as to there's a film called I'm sorry, it's blanking on me right now, but he's like blind, and it's the guy from Avatar, but I wanted to go with something like that where it was just an older, just white hair, type of.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like and instead I went with another independent film called The Guest, that's very similar to this film, and the actor reminded me of him. The actor's name is blanking on me right now, but he they that's basically where I was going. It was like it was one movie, and now it's turning into another, but it still works, and when I met the actor, who's also named as Sean, coincidentally, we were going to work on another film, and that film never fell through, so I had used him for this one. When I auditioned him, I saw something in him that I saw this this other movie in my head. I saw The Guest. So I wanted to I changed the story a little bit, and I saw it worked, and we continued with him, and I think he did a really good job. He was so dedicated. He gained muscle for the film, throughout the film, because the film goes through some time.
Yeah.
He gained some muscle. He grew his hair, all that stuff. Like, it was something that we did in just like a 3 month process. It was just 3 or 4 months around there. It was just him just dedicated to that. Yeah.
So, but he like, so you kind of played the handsome, kind of the young handsome kind of angle, I guess,
Right. Yeah, I
right?
went completely opposite. It was just
Yeah.
like, all right, let me get this, like, this traditional, like, American, soldier,
Yeah.
coming home, and it was like, almost looking like a bit of an action star, and let me get him a little bit more grotesque over time. Like, in the second half of the film, he's got like these scars on his face, so it's like, and then he's got like white hair. It's like, it's you start to see him transform. He's gaining like a little bit more weight now. He has more,
Yeah.
yeah, things like that. So it was,
Did you change some of the script because he's one with the ladies in the film, right?
what was that? I'm sorry.
He's one. He's got it with the ladies, right? In the film, like
Yeah.
the girls seem to like him.
Yeah, yeah, like they stick to him like, like nothing. So it was, yeah, that definitely was something, a lot of I started seeing a lot of feedback from, some fans, and I was like, "Oh, okay. So I can play into this. Like, this is something that is believable." So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
And then, so how many days was the shoot?
We did a total of 22 days of shooting,
Okay.
full days of shooting. There was, some little days here and there where we would, pick up like drone shots and, things like that. I wouldn't consider those like a full day of filming. But yeah, it was 22 full days. Yeah.
I don't want to say the budget, but there's a budget on Film Freeway. Is that the budget that you have on Film Freeway?
Yeah, yeah, that's the budget.
So let's assume that you every there's a lot of freebies. You grab the locations. There's
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. A lot of freebies, a lot of, like, let's, like you say, a lot of freebies, and credit cards, I pulled out the credit card. I didn't take no for an answer. So I would step in, whatever I needed, whatever we needed, we just got it done. Um, but yeah, it was tough. And because I'm also a big part of the post production, I think that, that's where a lot of money is saved.
yeah.
So that definitely has a hand to play.
So this neighborhood, is this your neighborhood that you live in?
I don't live in it. I've lived in that neighborhood. I grew up nearby that neighborhood, in
Okay.
that, surrounding area. And that's why I was very familiar with it. And one of the producers of the film was able to get us this location, this house that was just falling apart. And I was like, well, this is just great. This house is, it's kind of like character in the movie. And when we were filming there, all of the actors, the crew, everybody felt like it was very authentic. to the story, and I think I had a good helping hand in like the way that we shot. It was very difficult. There was a lot of mosquitoes during the filming. It was hot sometimes. It was cold sometimes. It was raining. Typical Miami weather, but yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. That
Because
house
it,
always,
it rains there every. Does it rain there every day? Like from like in the afternoon?
it's kind of like it could rain every day. It's just like you can live in one section and it's like it could be raining all day, and then in just like a couple blocks down it hasn't even sprinkled. It's just really odd. It's but so you can't really count on it. It's like you can't check the weather really, and kind of predict that. You kind of have to just be your own meteorologist and look up and kind of play with the wind and the clouds and the heat and everything. So that's kind of how I did it. And we have to take a look at it like in the morning of shooting. You have to just be on top of it a lot more than I think other places because it's just
Yeah.
unpredictable.
And then
Yeah.
of course you guys have had two tropical storms in the last like 6 weeks in Florida, not in Miami, but Florida. So,
Florida.
yeah.
Yeah. We were fortunate enough not to not go through that down here. It's not like I have experienced quite a few hurricanes in my lifetime. I mean, my first major one was Hurricane Andrew, was back in '92, and that was one of our biggest to this day. And yeah, I mean, after that, it was just for me. It's always like we're always prepared. We know what to take. One funny thing is, I was showing my wife some of the equipment that I have are like portable, lights for filming, and it actually plays a good hand in these hurricane situations. So, so that was a plus one for me on that part.
So you also edited the film yourself, right?
I am, yes, I'm the colorist and the editor. Yeah.
Like you said, that's how you can save some money, I guess, right?
It helps. It definitely helps. A lot of time goes into editing, and I think that with the short films I did in the past, it definitely helped me, think forward. And while I'm DPing, while I am, whatever I'm doing, it's always with the editor in my head. And I have to kind of split myself as like, okay, I'm going to direct, I'm going to work on performance and everything here while I'm also DPing, worrying about the shots. And then it's like, okay, now let me go into my editor and make sure that my editor agrees with all of this. So
Yeah,
yeah.
which is you.
So yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, um, so that's always an interesting thing. So but it's fun. It's
So
fun.
now it's playing on the festival circuit. That's why we're talking right now. So what, like ideally, you just like looking to get it distributed
Yeah.
somewhere? Like what's the ideal situation?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely wanted to, do the film for festival circuit. I wanted to see, what kind of feedback, it was getting, and it's been very positive. It's super grateful. I mean, it's made, a lot of times when I see these things, it's like it makes my day, it makes my week. I want to get on top of a mountain and just, yell. After all this journey, has been years, and it's a lot of hard work. So, I'm definitely receptive to it, and definitely want to look into distribution. That's another thing I've been learning. Just it's a whole nother aspect of filmmaking. Is
Yeah,
like a lot of self distribution is going on nowadays, but at the same time, it's we want to aim high. So distribution is definitely in view.
gotcha. Well, I wish you the best of luck with this film. We were honored to show at our festival. It's quite the ambitious project, and it's well performed on all levels, and it's nicely shot and nicely paced. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I
So let's
appreciate it.
talk again when you make your next feature film.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much for having me.